Okay, I'll give you a couple of minutes to settle your excitement for the start of this conference and let our hosts depart the room. Okay, yeah, all seems good to me. Certainly seems to be working on this laptop and on the screen, so that's good. People on Zoom are there. Can you see my PowerPoint? Yes, and Tatiani nods. If you don't know Tatiani, you haven't lived. Okay. Queridas colegas, dear colleagues, every 2 years in our normal cycle of business, we hold a general meeting of members ahead of our biennial conference, though recent years have clearly been anything but a normal cycle of business. I have a number of updates to provide on where things stand in relation to the business of the European Association Board. We held our meeting yesterday here in UNED. But before I do that, I want to thank our hosts who have now just left the room, UNED and all of our sponsors, to EDIEN and to SAS, the Facultad de Filologia, and the English Literary Studies Society, Studies in Society group here at UNED for all their work in arranging and then rearranging this event as a hybrid event. So thank you very, very much. Particular thanks to Cristina Garrigos and her dedicated team for making all of this possible. After 2 years of virtual meetings and online breakout rooms, it is good to get to meet again in person for those of us who have made it here to UNED Madrid. That said, we do have numerous colleagues joining us virtually around the world, and that is in no small part due to the technical expertise of our hosts here in Madrid. UNED is an online teaching university, so it is perfectly suited to doing a hybrid event like this. So, you know, serendipity and all of that. You have our collective thanks and gratitude for all the work that you have done. So, board business. New board members joined us at our meeting yesterday, or whether virtually or otherwise, as we replenish our board membership. So Anthony Castet replaces Nathalie Caron as the French representative. Isabella Kimmich joins us as the new Polish representative, replacing Zuzana Ladiga. Jorge Bastos da Silva replaces Teresa Botelho as the Portuguese representative. And Karsten Fitz, who's here in the room with us, I'm glad to see, is the new German representative, replacing Carmen Berkel, who obviously remains our treasurer. And we also welcome back to the board Adina Chigurianu, who replaces Edward Vlad as the Romanian representative. A very many thanks to outgoing colleagues and welcome to their replacements to the European board. It should also be noted here that Zuzana's term as vice president of the association has come to an end, as has Tatiani Rapatziku's term as secretary general to the association. My thanks to Zuza for being a constantly reliable and reassuring presence to have as vice president, and we will surely miss your guidance and expertise, Zuza, so thank you very much. And as for Tatiani, Rapadziku, well, what can I say? After 8 years as Secretary General, we finally have to accept, Tatiani, a new reality. The person who has driven the association and all its business since 2014 now must hand over the baton. Tatiani, we thank you. We wish you were here to receive our thanks, our gracious thanks in person. So thank you, Tatiani. At yesterday's board, we confirmed a new Secretary General and a new Vice President. Incoming as Tatiani's replacement is Ingrid Gessner, who is currently on a plane from Austria to here. She'll be here this evening. She's the Austrian representative, a leading voice and force in the Women's Network. For those of you who have dealt and worked with Ingrid, you'll know that she'll be an excellent, if not completely matching, replacement for Tatiani. And replacing Zsuzsa as Vice President is Alexandra Izgojan of the University of Novi Sad and the Board Representative of the Association for American Studies in Southeast Europe. Welcome both, and thank you for your willingness to take on these vital roles on behalf of our colleagues. So welcome both. It's very polite. No one's whooping. They're going, wow, it's amazing. These are the best board members ever. Maybe by the end. I want to update you on our book series. A few years back, we signed a contract with Brill Publishers to produce a new book series for the association, European Perspectives on the United States, the European Association for American Studies series. And we now have our first publication in the offing. It's on screen if you can see it, up in arms, Gun Imaginaries in Texas. The series editor, Marek Parish, who is here in the room with us, I'm delighted to say, has been proven himself a very patient and dedicated series editor, as various delays, whether due to the pandemic or on the Brill side of the house, meant that our first volume has been a little delayed in coming out. Other manuscripts are ready for production, so hopefully we'll see more activity in the coming months. So it's good to see that happening. The benefit of this, we used to be with Winter Verlag, but we used to have to pay Winter to publish the books at quite a cost. Now we don't. And Brill indeed will be providing part of the royalties, 5%, to the association. So get them ordered into your library is all I can say. If every association member got one into the library, we'd be minted. So let's do that. The Rob Crow's Book Award, again, something that had a bit of a hiatus as we changed leadership and then the pandemic, but we had 2 winners last year, and this year we have a winner who is Giulia Crisanti for her manuscript, Europeans Are Loving It, Coca-Cola, McDonald's, and the Responses to American Global Business in Italy and France, 1886 to 2015. Our thanks to the award committee here. This was Tanfer Emmentunk and Frank Mehring, along with Marek Parish. The European Journal of American Studies, you will hopefully be very familiar with this, is our official journal, which since 2017 has been published as a quarterly with 3 special issues each year and 1 general issue. Marek, again, is our editor. I don't know what we would do without you. You note in your email to me that the calendar for special issues is set all the way to the end of 2024. So it's good to see so many people contributing to the journal. Again, keep coming up with ideas for special issues or journal articles for the general issue, because we are really interested in publishing the best scholarship from scholars, not just in Europe, but across the world. So if you are watching this from wherever, you're more than welcome to submit an idea. In other European journal business, both Frank Gerritz and Andrew Gross have completed their terms of office as editors along with Marek. They have been replaced by Helen Gibson from Erfurt and by Florian Zappa at Göttingen. Our thanks to Frank and Andy, and our best wishes to Helen and Florian for successful terms of office. Well done there. Part of the board meeting, we discuss a lot of things, and anyone who's been on the board will know it takes a while to discuss a lot of things across 22 national associations. But we did set a timetable for forthcoming European Association events. So in 2023, next year's Women's Network Symposium will be held in Debrecen in Hungary at the very end of March. The proposed theme here is on reproductive health and rights, to mark the 50th anniversary of Roe v. Wade. In 2024, we're delighted to say that we're taking this conference back to Germany, back home, for the 70th anniversary of the European Association for American Studies. And our hosts will be the America House in Munich. So we'll be looking early April, 3rd to 6th maybe, give or take a day or two for that. The proposed theme for that conference is the American immigrant narrative, 1924 to 2024, and wider conditions and issues and questions around migration and diaspora studies will no doubt come into play in Munich. In 2025, we are going to Sweden. Well, some of us will be. I won't be involved, but I might go. You never know. We're going to Karlstad in Sweden for the Women's Network Symposium. 2026, we have had a detailed proposal, which we accepted yesterday at the board, that the biennial conference will go to Bologna in Italy. That'll be cool, I tell you. And in 2027, our new Vice President, Alexandra Iskarjin, has proposed the University of Novi Sad in Serbia for the Women's Network. So we've got a pretty full calendar ahead, lots of journeys and trips for people once we get back into the world of traveling around. At each annual board, we have to set the subscription fee per member that is charged to national associations to keep the EAAS boat afloat. And at the start of the pandemic, this annual rate of €6 per person per year was lowered to €5 per person per year, just to ease some of the pressure on member associations. We voted yesterday to keep the tariff at €5 per year for 2023. We also discussed some perennial issues, such as the European Association Studies website and our general online presence. With a new Secretary General coming into office and an urgent need to change our hosting platform, this is still being hosted by our old webmaster before the last one. So Jacques Potier has still been hosting the website on his French server, but that's going to have to change. So, and Jacques has definitely earned the right not to have to bother with these things anymore. So while changing the server and the hoster, we are going to look at and review our website management and our platform capability. So more exciting website changes in the offing, and we will update you when we have them. At yesterday's board, we appointed a subcommittee comprising our new incoming VP, Alexandra, Carmen, our treasurer, Andrea Caroso, who's here in the room, our Italian Association rep, and our new Polish rep, Isabella Kimmich, to oversee the management of a new financial support stream for scholars at risk. While we are, as an association, committed by our articles not to endorse any political agenda, we are not blind to the realities of the world in which we live. As last preparations for this conference were taking shape, on the 24th of February, an unprovoked and catastrophically brutal military invasion by Russian forces under the direction of Vladimir Putin began laying waste to so many areas of Ukraine. Since the beginning of that war, I have been in intermittent contact with Makar Taran, the chair of the Ukrainian Association for American Studies. He works in the Faculty of History at the Taras Shevchenko National University of Kyiv. On Saturday, the 2nd of April, as I prepared these notes, Makar contacted me to say that he had just spent a week as part of a reconnaissance team in the southeast of Kyiv, and that faculty and students in the city were this week planning to have a reunion in Kyiv of American Studies students. He also noted that a number of the students in Kyiv had joined the Ukrainian army, and sadly, they have lost their lives in the conflict. One such was Dmytro Yevdokimov, a fourth-year American Studies student in the Faculty of History at the Taras Shevchenko National University of Kyiv, who died defending his hometown near Kharkiv. I wrote to board members on the 8th of March with an emergency proposal that the Ukrainian Association be admitted to full board membership of the European Association for American Studies. All votes were in favor of this proposal, I'm delighted to say. While this may for now be only of symbolic value to anyone in Ukraine and in the Ukrainian Association for American Studies, in the future, when this war is over, and our Ukrainian colleagues and their postgraduate communities will need our help, and I hope they will benefit from being part of our network as they seek to rebuild their lives and their careers where possible. I would like to note another important point here, though. While Ukraine is currently suffering daily bombardment and indiscriminate acts of violence against its citizens, we must also keep our friends and colleagues in Belarus and in Russia in our thoughts, as they too are facing challenging circumstances. The very practice of their teaching and research in American studies, if not already curtailed, is the subject of continual surveillance. They too will need all the support and backing that we can give them, both now and in the coming months and coming years. When I called the online vote to admit the Ukrainian association, 2 of the first votes in favor came from our colleagues in Belarus and in Russia. Yuri Stulov and Larissa Mikhailova, thank you. You are always in our thoughts. I also draw your attention to the programme and the first panel of the afternoon session, which sees colleagues from Belarus, from Russia, and from Ukraine on the same panel in academic exchange. This is who we are. The EAAS stands for freedom in all of its forms and practices: academic, religious, political, sexual, cultural, racial, and an individual's choice of their gender identification. We are, and we will remain, an inclusive family of scholars and researchers. In conjunction with UNED, our hosts here, the European Association is donating €4,300 from the proceeds of this conference to the International Red Cross. In these days when it is so difficult to know what we can do, this is surely the very least that we can do. Friends, I wish you a good conference and I wish you peace. Thank you. Okay, I need to stop sharing somehow. Have I done that? I think I have. How do I get people on the screen on Zoom? Someone's going to have to come down the stairs, so hold on a minute, Carmen. I'm going to hand over to Carmen Burkle, our treasurer, and she will give us a report on quite healthy financial situation for the association, I must admit. And then we'll hear a few words again from Tatiani for one last time. And maybe also Susan might consider just saying goodbye as VP. We'll see. She is in the room here. So someone's coming down the stairs. Let's see how long this takes. Chat amongst yourselves. Oh, here we go. Chat. I just don't want to hit the wrong thing and everything just shuts down and the university stops working. The conference ends.
What is the presentation? This one?
Yeah, you can close that. I want to get the Zoom screen on.
Close, no?
Yeah.
And now?
And then Zoom, so there's people on Zoom who want to come in and talk to us. See?
Zoom?
Yeah.
This is the chat.
Okay, and are they on screen? Can we get them on screen?
Yes. The people can open the camera and the micro.
Yeah, so they're all ready.
Yes, and you see in the...
Okay. I can see the chat. I just can't see them on the screen.
Yes.
But they're not.
In this moment, all the people can open your mic and the camera.
Yeah.
And can speak. Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'll trust you. Thank you. Okay. So, Carmen, as our treasurer, I invite you to come on screen and thrill the room with our financial situation. Carmen.
All right. Thank you, Philip. I am already on screen and I can see you. I'm not sure if you can see me, but it is a great honor for me to be speaking here today and to be following on after such a great introduction to the European Association for American Studies. I've now been the treasurer of the association for about 2 years, and it's been an interesting time also in terms of changing the assets that were left to us by Rob Cruz and other people sometime in the past, and we had to move them from the Netherlands, from Amsterdam back to Germany, because we are registered as an association in Germany and new bank regulations made this necessary. So I think I can say that we have successfully done so. I'm based in Marburg, and in my background you can see the Marburg Castle. That's not where we are teaching, unfortunately. but that's now where the accounts and the assets are based. And so far, we've been quite successful in investing the money into funds that rely on sustainability and fair trading, fair prices, and so on. That was very important. The second part that was very important for us was that we invest the money not in order to make a lot of money, but at very low risk, so that we will preserve our funds and do slightly increase them, but that we can also spend some more money on things such as now the contribution to the International Red Cross in the case of the Ukrainian disaster that's happening right now. So having said that, we are doing quite well as an association, in particular because we did not have a lot of activities last year, which contradicts somehow that I'm saying we are doing quite well. I'm speaking, don't forget, I'm speaking as the treasurer. So in terms of finances, right now we are doing quite well. We didn't have on-site board meetings last year. The conference was held online and so on. So all of that money we did not have to spend. So right now we're doing very well and are able to attribute or distribute new scholarships and stipends for young and upcoming researchers in American studies. We discussed yesterday that we would continue the idea of the travel funds, and Susanna will say more about that, I think, in a minute. We will also set up a separate fund for what Philip already called the Scholars at Risk Fund, and we'll still have to find out the exact conditions, but we will spend more money on people in the association who will need to do research in American studies, and we will support that. Yes, and we'll of course also continue the Rob Cruz Prize, as you have seen in Philip's presentation. And I should also say that we are a non-for-profit organization, and every 3 years this has to be recognized and acknowledged by the German tax authorities. And I've done that successfully at the end of last year again. So for the next 3 years, we are not paying taxes to any authorities. So that also will help us to increase our funds and to spend the money that's so much in need right now for scholars who need and want to do research in American studies. All right, and I think that was my report, and I would like to pass on to Tatiani and or Susanna.
Go, Tatiani.
I don't have much to say. The only thing I have to say is my warmest thanks to the colleagues in UNED for hosting us all online and on site. And it is a pleasure to be able to address all of you via my screen this morning. And also our congratulations for such a wonderful conference, so diverse and so rich in all subject areas. Since this is my last participation as an EAAS Secretary General, I'd like to say that it has been an honor for me to serve on the EAAS board for the last 8 years, and a great delight to collaborate with so many excellent colleagues from a number of European universities. So I'd just like to end with a big thank you for all your trust. Thank you so much. And let us all enjoy a wonderful conference. Thank you.
Okay, and Ziza is coming up the stairs. One last hurrah.
To say goodbye. Good morning. So my job is to say that this has been a very difficult vice presidency because it has been served under COVID, and many of travel grants were either postponed or cancelled. So this is a moment where I would like to invite you to reapply or apply again. We will be issuing a call for travel grants by the end of April. And please resume your travels, resume applying, maybe change the plans from transatlantic to intra-European, but there are many options and we have plenty of funds to support this. I'm honored, and I said this yesterday, I will repeat this today. I was very honored to be the vice president of the association. And it was a pleasure to be working with you all and to represent you all. If I can say something to end this, your speech said it all, but I would like to add something. We are dealing with words here and with images, and it has been emphasized today that it's our job to talk about wasteland in the context of the war. There were phrases used such as that this is a abhorrent situation and that times are difficult. And these are also words. And if I could ask for anything at the end of my vice presidency is that we don't dissolve those words into mere discourse and discursive analysis. And that's why this trust that we began yesterday, that we established yesterday, the trust for scholars in need or the scholars at risk, is the trust that I would like you to inform everybody that you know who is in a situation of war, in the most precarious situation of all, to be informed about. So this is a fund for everyone, but it's specifically for them. And if you know of anybody, please let them know. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Zuza. I see Tatiana's still on screen, but oh well. You get to look at Tatiana for a little bit longer as Secretary General. So that's it from the board. I don't know if there's any queries or thoughts from the floor here or either on the chat function in Zoom from our membership. I see a sea of nothing, of hands anyway. I see people's faces and masks, but I don't see any hands. Well, I think, unless someone's typing very quickly, I think that will be the end of the general meeting. It's very good to see people again in person. Thank you for joining us online. Thank you, Carmen and Tatiana and Zuza for your contributions. And I wish you a good conference. So thank you.